everyone. We're super excited to have you here today for our final award ceremony. My name is Shri. I'm the founder of EmpowHer, and today we're celebrating the hard work our students have been putting in over the last year, and we have some amazing speakers lined up for you. We would love to have audience interaction with us today, so if you want to use the chat box or react with emojis, that'd be wonderful. So we would love to start with a recap video of EmpowHer this year.
I'm Annalise Caminero.
My name is Rintalper.
My name is Artrish Magoli.
It's Tihan Mustafa.
Marshall Nahal.
Sahara Damer. Nithusha Ramnarathan. Our prototype is for an app called College Compass that helps students get organized for the college admission process.
Meet Ames, our solar-powered cylindrical-shaped device.
We present to you GradeCalc, an app that helps students achieve their academic goals.
This is our next demo. We're repeating with a boarding sign in our name and our 3 cats, which are gotten from the Firebase database.
A couple of months ago, we analyzed what were one of the biggest problems in the world. We found out that teen pregnancy is very common with a birth rate of 18.8 in 1,000 teens as of 2017.
This is the homepage of our website. As you can see, there are several images that allow you to navigate to other pages.
When you click each class, you're able to see all the categories for that class, as well as all the assignments for that class.
Network to first identify marine animals and then emit corresponding frequencies to steer the animals away from piles of garbage in the ocean.
Before creating our website, we designed it on a wireframing website called Figma, along with the different paths connected to each clickable button or link, and a blog where frontline workers can share different stories, whether they be helpful, educational, or cautionary.
Finally, we have a section for letters of support that are written by members of our community to share kind words and appreciate what healthcare workers are doing so that the healthcare workers can see the change they are really making.
So I hope that video got you guys really excited. But just to give a little bit of a recap, as a background on MetroHacks, we are a nonprofit that was founded in 2015 to provide practical engineering opportunities to high school students. Over the past 6 years, we have run co-ed hackathons across the East Coast, and we've reached over 3,000 students. The co-ed hackathons have been extremely successful. However, we found that due to the gender disparity in STEM, a majority of the student participants were male. As a woman in STEM myself, the experience of being one of the few girls in many of my computer science classes was a familiar one. I was inspired to understand the underlying reasoning for the gender imbalance in STEM. I identified 3 significant hindrances that women face in their pursuit of a STEM education. Firstly, a lack of support and inclusion within their community. Secondly, a lack of diverse female role models. And thirdly, the intimidation that comes from the belief that prior experience is necessary for participation. I believe that democratizing access to these STEM opportunities is critical to unlocking the next era of innovation. And it is our mission at EmpowHer to inspire more females to pursue a career in engineering. Through EmpowHer, we aim to provide young women the opportunity to hone both their technical and business skill set in an inclusive environment. To the same, we founded EmpowHer, a team competition for high school girls to create a computer science-based project that improves their community. Through our program, high school students learn the skills necessary to not only become successful STEM majors, but also leaders in the industry. Our unique approach includes 3 pieces. Firstly, our vibrant vibrant student community, young women who are STEM enthusiasts, self-starters, and future leaders. Secondly, providing a one-on-one mentorship program for student teams to work with experienced industry engineers. Students are guided through every step of the project development process by diverse role models who help give students confidence to approach new problems. Along with the mentorship, we organize workshop series and keynotes that are accessible to students of all skill levels, hosted by impactful women in technology. We couldn't have run this event without our amazing sponsors. So a big shout out to Jane Street as our diamond sponsor, Target and NC Witt as our gold sponsors, Willis Towers Watson as our silver sponsor, and finally, last but not least, Wolfram Language as our bronze sponsor.
Hi everyone, my name is Anna Grankin and I am the Curriculum Director for EmpowHer. We are so excited to share the impact EmpowHer 2021 has made in the technology space. We had participants located around the globe in the US, UK, Canada, and India. Teams who submitted were from Massachusetts, Arizona, Georgia, New Jersey, Virginia, Rhode Island, New York, and even Puerto Rico. Every grade in high school was represented, and 30% of teams that submitted had attended a previous MetroHacks event. We were able to connect people of all ages from around the globe to learn and grow their entrepreneurial skills. A major goal of ours was diversity and inclusivity. We had a very diverse set of participants this year, with 69% being Asian, 18% white, and 6% Hispanic. Reports have shown that Hispanic women hold less than 2% of STEM occupations globally. We are so glad we were able to take a step towards bridging that gap and inspiring more girls to pursue STEM. Our mentorship program is a key element of EmpowHer, and we are so happy to report that 40 teams matched with mentors for a total of 82 students and 54 mentors. The matched students were able to have individual attention on their projects and even their career goals. Our mentors were located from all different time zones as well. We are so grateful to our mentors for their hard work. We estimated that all our mentors combined spent a total of 1,890 hours with their teams. These are some student mentor testimonials. From one student, my mentor was wonderful. She gave us tips for starting to code, suggestions for libraries and code editors, and answered all our questions thoughtfully. I'm glad I had such a sweet mentor to help me out. When asked what their favorite part of EmpowHer was, many students and mentors said it was the mentor program. We also had a very successful year of workshops, with a total of 30 workshops and events, including 3 weekly series: web development, app development, and data science with Python. There were a total of 76 unique attendees for these technical workshops. Our most popular event was our keynote with Lydia Smyers, with a total of 71 attendees. A big thank you to all of our wonderful workshop hosts that were able to make this happen. Our participants were able to learn so many different skills to strengthen their projects.
Now I'm very excited to present to you our guest speakers for today. So first, we have Sudha Jamthe, who is the CEO of IoTDisruptions.com, a Stanford artificial intelligence instructor, and a globally recognized technology futurist at the junction of IoT, AI, and autonomous vehicles. She brings 20 plus years of digital transformation experience from building innovation and growth organizations, shaping new technology ecosystems, and mentoring leaders at eBay, PayPal, Harcourt, and GTE. So I'll just hand it over to you. And stop sharing.
Hello, everybody. It was fantastic to hear the amount of creativity, organization, leadership that has gone in to build EmpowHer. Thank you, Shruti, for inviting me, and thank you for the whole team for inspiring me today. So let me tell you a little bit, as Shruti had asked me to talk about some advice for amazing women here who are getting started on your STEM career. So as my resume said, my intro said, I have worked in STEM field for multiple decades. I started out from a computer science engineering degree, and then I was on this constant search of what I want to do. And I still think I'm not fully grown up. But in that journey, I've been an entrepreneur. I founded companies. I have currently I have an online platform called Business School of AI, where I teach individuals to learn AI and come together and make magic happen. And it's not just teaching machine learning or the coding aspect, but the reality of going and changing the world and coming with AI solutions. And it's not somebody who just does Python. It could be anybody coming from any kind of field, or it could be a designer or a psychologist or business people. And it's magic because we do this as a live online lab. So enough about me. I've actually put together a slide in case you want to see it later. So will I get access to share it? Let me see. Can I share the screen? Yes, we're all set up beautifully. So one of the things I did in my journey was I spent many decades in working in technology industry, starting from engineering, product management, and I wanted to, I first wanted to be an entrepreneur. I did not know what was entrepreneurship per se. And so I saw people who were on the business side, who were marketing people, business people, and I said, I want to do what they are doing. So I kind of started moving towards that. I ended up, doing an MBA at Boston University and, learned marketing and business strategy. And one of my lessons after the fact is you need to give yourself permission to do something. If you want to do something, you don't have to wait for somebody else, because I was just thinking, I don't have the skill. And it's very well known that, a lot of people have imposter syndrome, and statistically they say women have more because we help hold ourselves to higher self-judgment. I did not even think I had it, but I was waiting for somebody to, validate that I could do marketing. And then I ended up, leaving that and founded my own startup. In fact, I was based out of Boston area at that time. I was the first woman to raise venture money. This was 2000 timeframe. I was the first woman to raise venture money in the New England states. And I didn't know that. Looking back, and I raised my first million in 40 days. So I was written about, and things happened. Afterwards, when I found that, it freaked me. So today there is a lot more stats about limitations for women, and so they get less salary and this and that. Don't believe anything. It's as people who are working with AI and data, a general stats doesn't mean an individual person or what is possible if you want to do something. So that is one thing that I have followed in my life that has helped me, because I do not think that I want to be put in a box and defined as whatever job title, whatever, profile. And if you did that, what happens is first you would obviously start believing all the stats they tell you about it. I do not believe I was paid less than men. I made sure I was not paid less than men. And I was always, I walked away from opportunities. I remember after, I decided to go on independent in the last 6 years as a technology futurist, I was invited to speak at a conference, and somebody from Europe was interviewing me and said, here's this opportunity, would that work? And then I said, this is my speaker fee. And they said, oh, we have this other person who is not charging a speaker fee. I just looked at them and said, maybe you should go with the other person. They were very shocked. It sounded very arrogant. I was on the phone. Honestly, I was not feeling great saying that. But after I finished the call, I was kind of shaking. But at that point, I had to say it because they did not know what was my worth if I don't set that worth for myself. So that's kind of lesson along the way. So what I've done is I want to share a little bit of, the tech area I work, because you're all out to create change focused on computer science. So I want to give you that a little bit, and then I'm going to give you 3 life lessons that I hold on as mantra that has helped me. Okay. And one of my motivation to talk to you on a weekend is because I like to surround myself with people who are smarter than me. And so I hope you will connect with me and, enrich my life and teach me something, So I teach in a lot of different places. I started out, saying, I left my corporate job 6 years back, and I said, I've been making a lot of money for, big companies. At that time, I was heading Mobile Analytics, which is a organization which was optimizing how people were coming in and using the website, the mobile, iPhone, iPad, Android, mobile web to help conversion for e-commerce that everybody does now, When you go to Amazon or any of that, the Etsy or any site, it's kind of a given these days, even Spotify and everywhere. So that was a $27 billion business, and my team was responsible for that. And so I just had this epiphany one day and said, what am I doing? How purposeful is my life? I've worked for so long. And so I decided to go write a book, because that was one of the things that I'd walked away from. There were 53 people in my LinkedIn connection who were authors. And I started calling some of them and asked for advice. And everybody said, don't write a book. They said, the people who had done a print book said there's not much money in it. They said it's boring working with the editorial process. And people, then they said, maybe if you go write a Kindle book or, a digital version, there might be money in it. The Kindle book author said, I have something to sell. I offer workshops and whatnot. So that's useful. So I need a channel for how the book is published. So publisher might be better if you go with them. I just said, I want to do this. And what I know to do is build products, put it out there, listen to users and optimize. So at that point, since I was focused on mobile and the Fitbits and the Apple Watch and all that. Apple Watch had not yet launched. Apple was talking to us at eBay to create the experience for e-commerce. So I was fascinated by IoT, Internet of Things. And so I said, okay, let me go write a book about IoT. And there must be people like me who are busy in their corporate jobs who don't know enough about it. As I dug deeper, I found out IoT is much bigger. It's not limited to, biometrics and e-commerce and the consumer view of things. There was a whole industrial IoT, and there was, connected cars and whatnot. So I started doing interviews on my YouTube channel, talking to people who were working in different aspects of IoT. And it helped me expand my horizons and educate myself, and the preparation of who to call, what to ask them, be smart on camera, helped me to kind of, accelerate my learning. And so I had enough of a case study that I could write from each of this. And then I ended up writing those case studies. So I published a Kindle book, and I basically put it out for $3 or $2.99. And I then went to my LinkedIn and said, here's my new book, and give me feedback. Do you find this useful? What else would you like to see? And based on your feedback, I'm going to make the print book. And a lot of different people came and told me good and bad. That kind of helped me refine things. And I found the case studies that I had built of what is reality in industry, talking to these different people each week, I had wealth of information. So I combined that and I created my print book called Internet of Things Business Primer. And Stanford called me and said, hey, we don't have anybody teaching IoT on the business side. We have a professor teaching on the engineering side. So can you come and teach IoT? IoT business. So I ended up going in, and I still do that. And after, I'm one of those people who gets bored doing the same thing. And once you've done a startup or once you've been entrepreneurial, it's very hard to not be resourceful, not be smart about your time. So I kind of get restless. So I did my IoT course, and I have these professional adults from industry who come and learn from me, and then they want more. And since my background is in data, I gravitated towards how data feeds AI, and it became cognitive IoT. And then I was driving around, and the Google self-driving car used to drive around next to me. And I realized one day, if this was a human in the car, they would wave at me or at least notice me. And I thought, what are they doing? They've been testing for 8 years around that time. And what are they testing for? Are they testing for me as a consumer to buy from them? I'm not seeing that. What's the business model? Are they testing whether, we'll share the road together? I don't see that. I realized we are just training data for the computer vision model. And I realized if I'm going to be training data, I'm going to be the best training data on the face of Earth. So I started chasing self-driving cars. So there's 60 self-driving car pilots in California. And as following that, of course, I did some research of, what the technology is and what's the state of affairs, who's doing what. And then from there, I ended up, visiting countries to see who has self-driving cars. Spain is testing one, I would go see that. In different countries, I've seen a variety of different self-driving cars. And then I expanded from just self-driving car to autonomous vehicles. So I ended up changing my course and went to Stanford and said, I want to teach this course called Business of Self-Driving Car. I did that. And I'd have this autonomous vehicle course. And from there, now I teach AI business for I teach AI for product and business managers as my latest course. And I've not stopped chasing self-driving cars or the bots, the delivery bots. I try to hack them. I try to follow, and I do this publicly, right? The one thing that helped me is I do everything. I share my ignorance. I share my learning. I share my ignorance, because I'm accountable only to myself. And so I would chase the self-driving car and see how it works in a construction zone or something else. And then I would just follow up. I would write things about it. So I would constantly write. So now I've written 6 books, 3 on IoT, on autonomous vehicle. It's called 2030 Driverless World. And then the AI book is called AIX, which is about design of AI using data in a human-centered way. And so I teach AIX, and then I figured out that, there's a lot of bias, especially against women, minorities, in various dimensions. And so I focus on AI ethics. So now I teach, other than Stanford, I teach at Barcelona Technology School, at Business School of AI. I'm getting ready to teach build out a whole master's in human AI at LSU University in Spain. So I'm kind of doing multiple things, but it's going towards one direction. But I don't want to be boxed to be called an author or speaker or teacher or whatever, because I get to define what I do at any given day. So that's kind of my mantra. So now I'm going to share screen back again to the 3 lessons, what I wanted to tell you. And for those of you who are interested in my research, if you follow me, you will find out my work on AIX or autonomous vehicles, or the whole value creation from AI done ethically. So I publish papers and articles and whatnot. I'm a very public person, and I'm on this Sue Jamte handle everywhere. So you can find me on Twitter or LinkedIn, or even at Business School of AI. It's Sue Jamte at Business School of AI. Okay, so the 3 lessons is, one is, I already said this, you surround yourself by people smarter than you. Again and again and again. If you go find people, when we get out of our comfort zone from high school, from college, or when you move to a new neighborhood or new job, we always go to a new place and we, surround ourselves with interesting people, Then when it becomes easy, then you're not in the right room. So what I felt with my eBay job, though it was $27 billion and a lot of complexity, at some point I had built trust. People believed me for what I was saying, and it became routine stuff. That is when you stop learning. Then I'm going to start aging. Didn't like it. So that's what I found. And so the other thing is, when you surround people, when you say smarter than you, you don't want people who are full of themselves and just say, okay, I'm smarter, and put you down. So you have to watch your energy. Do they bring the best in you? They don't always have to believe in you. You need a few people who believe in you. Other than that, you could go online, you could contribute in a lot of different places, but you need to find your tribe that helps you. So for me, I'm a very extroverted person. So I run meetups, I run hackathons, I do live streams, a whole bunch of things. So now on Wednesdays, I do this thing called Weekly Wednesday, where my past and present students come together, and new people keep coming in because it's a free forum. And we have a speaker series. Sometimes I do a live lab, but it's kind of my learning forum to get to the reality beyond the surface of, this is what you can do with machine learning, and this is what business is saying is possible. What's the reality? The way I do that, I literally take anything that I hear and I start hacking. And so there was this news that car companies are replacing the side view mirror with cameras. And the news was, oh my God, now car companies are going to get images or video from the car, from the road, and now they can build self-driving car technology. It's a huge leap. It makes a great article, right? But so I take that and I say, okay, now if you are the camera company, where's your opportunity? If you're the mirror company, what happens to you? And now I'm the camera company, I say I make it connected. Now, where is the data sitting? Can you watch the road? And if you watch the road, the data has to sit on the edge. Where is it sitting? It is sitting in the ECU in the car. What does that mean? How is it going to move somewhere? How is it sent to, how is it created? How is that data collected, stored? What's the cost of it? What's the cost of that mobility? And how is that converted to computer vision models? Who's doing the labeling? The labeling alone will cost you an arms and leg. So I kind of dig deeper, deeper, deeper. So that's kind of my specialty of going between the business and tech. So I'm constantly asking questions. So people think I have answers when I write stuff. Actually, what I do is I ask questions. So asking questions and not being shy to ask questions, and being, so many times when you're in a new situation among new people, what happens is, you might have a question and say, what is she talking about? And then you don't want to be the only one to ask that question. For me, I've specialized in being that person who asks the dumb question, because I judge only myself, and only I judge myself and nobody else. And so if I didn't ask the question, I'm going to leave the room and still feel dumb. If I ask the question, chances are most people did not have the answer, or at least I will find the answer. Or maybe the speaker doesn't have the answer. So you can ask me something and you can find out that you're smarter than me. And it's just a matter of minutes for you to get there. So that's one thing. So people, so now while you're doing this MetroHacks, you have amazing colleagues, you have teams that you've built hackathons with. Keep your connections. That is one thing I regret, because I came from before the social networks picked up. So I've not kept in touch with everybody from my past as much as I wish. We came back and connected much later. So keep that connection of people, and then seek out new rooms, new opportunities to just be in the middle of smart people. And then you'll realize you're actually smarter. It's not that they're smarter, that it's just you, that half of it was perception, half of it was knowledge. The second thing I would say is, I figured out that, it's not just about time management and managing your energy. It's about managing your happiness and what drives you. Like I said, some people give you more energy and some people don't. And so you don't need to be surrounded by them if they're not giving you energy. So one of the things I've trained myself is to watch my energy. So when I'm doing something on an average day, if I'm kind of de-energized, I just check, what am I doing? I didn't like to do this thing. Do I need to keep doing that? And it's not like one day I'll stop cold turkey, but I will watch myself for a few days and I'll say, this is not good. So when I started out my YouTube channel, there were people who came and said, hey, can my CEO speak be interviewed by you? What would it cost? Can we do some sponsorship and syndication of that content? It was flattering, but then I thought about it and I said, if I make this my business model, my average day is going to be spent in deciding, in getting more of this kind of sale, and that's not what I want to do. So I kind of manage what I'm doing very, very, very vehemently. So I get energized by one thing, I go do the next thing. And then I just think, you should say your please and thank yous that you learn in kindergarten, right? You need to say your please and thank you to everybody. That gets you the connection back with people big time. And we all need that. And this I said about making mistakes, right? So the other thing is try different things. And when you fail, people usually feel bad and then they go away, right, in a cocoon. Everybody does that. Brag about it. You need to figure out how to say that, you're all participating in this and they're going to pick a couple winners. That doesn't mean everybody else who didn't win is should not talk about it or feel good about themselves. You put in the effort, you're super smart, you came with the idea, you executed on it, you have something to feel proud about. And then maybe you need to build on it next time. Maybe the competition was something else. So, you need to go and say, I did this thing and I want to change the world in this direction. And, go talk about it, write about it, tweet about it in your own way, So, and then, and get up again. So one of the things is, if you feel what you did, you fail. I heard this somewhere saying, learn to make, don't worry about taking risks, don't worry about failing, but learn to make fantastic comebacks. So you try something, if it doesn't work, you need to learn to reinvent yourself and come back. So that's something that I've learned along the way, that, that helps me, because I did my startup, I did variety of different jobs, and I, write books and different things. I don't know if it's going to be successful. I believe it is, and I'm putting my effort. If it is not, I'm going to redefine my variables of success and get up again. And so that's something that you get to decide. But the important thing is to watch yourself. Are you really, really happy? Nobody else is going to look out for your happiness. Nobody. Even, if people think that somebody else is, going to look out for you, it's not. So and you would know if you're really happy or not. So you have to kind of watch that, and you'll feel amazing if you're doing things that's energizing. Because for me, I keep doing things that's kind of, keeps me bouncing from one project to another. And I found that enjoying mentoring my students is amazing. Learning something new is amazing. So, and I feel excited when I find something I don't know, and I go, okay, now I have to go learn that. So you'll have to find what drives you. The third thing is the most important thing. There's a Colin Powell quote which says, don't let their view of you become your view of yourself. Remember in the beginning, I said about how you should not do, I did variety of different jobs, but I waited for somebody to say I was eligible to do marketing. So wherever you go, right, don't box yourself to a particular role, because that gives, and all of you who work in data and machine learning know there's a lot of bias, right? So the minute you try to do something that is defined as a role by somebody else, you give them control. You give them control to be judged. And if they're biased, they're going to judge. So when you hear about there's not enough women in tech and in the technology industry, then when you go there and you're called a software engineer, you're called a front-end designer, you're called whatever, right? If you try to stick to the definition, then you're going to be judged with somebody else, and then whatever bias they have, they're going to bring it, or they're going to bug you anyway. So instead, get started to do what they're always hiring to solve a problem. So solve the problem. After that, try to get creative and do this other thing and offer to do more pet projects. So the way I moved to analytics, to head analytics, was because I was not an analyst. I was interested in social. I was a product manager, and I was saying, hey, how can you use social media for commerce on eBay? And then I wanted data, and I asked the analytics org for an analyst, and they said, we don't have an analyst who does social. But I said, you have an analyst who knows to do SQL? Get me that person, I'll teach them social. So they gave me one person, he worked with me. Then I asked for one more. And so then that VP sat me down and said, tell me what is your plan for next year, because you're asking me for a lot of analysts, and I need to plan how many people do I need to hire to support you. And I gave this big grand vision of what social media can do for e-commerce. And he told me, why don't you come and build an analytics, social analytics org in my group, because he was head of all analytics. I was no analyst, and I was not one of them, but I jumped at that because I was training all these analysts. And if I could train 3 analysts to do that, I could train a whole bunch of analysts and make them do something. I went there, and then I ended up obviously doing a decent job. And so they told me, hey, you were able to demystify what the business drivers were for social. So why don't you do that for the whole company? And the whole company was $70 billion business. So I ended up getting an opportunity to work at the office of the president to go do the same thing, to get data, to figure out what was driving the business, what were the business levers, to create transparency and create some reports and a process structure to get those reports around that. I did not know analytics. I did not know the big business. I did not know enough people. I did not know the complexity. I just knew that I could do it because I wanted to do it. And so I just think and I'm sure there were people who judged me along the way, and people who changed their mind, or they didn't, but I didn't care. And I'm not saying you have to be thick skinned and just zoom out. It's just you have an inner voice which actually tells you to judge yourself. Do that quietly in your room and then get up. And if somebody else is judging you, don't listen to them. No, so that's what I would say. So, and you have to find what is that uncomfortable zone. To manage that, there is going to be something where you're judging yourself, saying, I don't do public speaking, I don't do this SQL code, or I'm not good at something, right? There's a voice in your head which tells you that, and you're not comfortable to go past that. Find out what is that. If you can learn and get over it. If you can, manage to deal it, manage to hide it, but be aware of it. That's where somebody can control you. Somebody can judge you for what it is worth. Suppose somebody says, hey, look at her hair, it's not good. Not going to care. But there would be something about me that I'm judging myself. And if they said that, that would hit me. And so if I'm aware of it, I can manage it. So just become aware of it and try to figure out however you want to deal with it. So that's my lesson. So surround yourself with smart people and then make sure you're always like set to happiness mode and manage it and be like selfishly focused on it, because you will do amazing good to yourself and the world if you do that to yourself. And then finally, don't let anybody, this is the hardest thing, because everybody's trained, especially, right from when we are somewhere, or kids along the way, we are taught to judge ourselves and other people judge us, and we kind of start giving control to them, unaware of that. Because especially as students, you see there are teachers, there are parents, and even people like me who are talking like I know everything. So you don't need to listen to everything. You hear it, take things in perspective, but just be aware of, okay, what judgment do I take? Is it helping me? Is it not? How am I going to deal with it? And then you'll go a long way with that. So with that, I want to wrap up. And then since you're all working in STEM, I would say, go publicly with what you're doing, put things on GitHub, and, go contribute to courses online, and there is like Slack groups for various things. And of course, you can just post things on social media. So nowadays, anytime I go attend a conference online, I will start taking notes and screen grab and do a thread on Twitter, or do a thread on LinkedIn. It helps somebody out in the universe. It helps me because I'm taking notes. And then you will be amazed at how many smart people come find me. So that's my wrap up, and please connect with me. I don't know if I had another slide. So this weekly Wednesdays thing that I do, if I don't know if that would be useful for you, you can come check it out. Otherwise, just connect with me on Twitter or LinkedIn or YouTube or Business School of AI. And I'm Sujante there. And I promise that I will find time. Whoever, as long as you give me a note and give me context of who you are, I will find time. Even if there are hundreds of people I see, there's 70 people here. Even if each one of you come back and ping me on something, I will find time, because I have this unlimited, amazing energy for mentoring people, helping people. And that energizes me. So it gives me more energy to do the next thing. So if every one of you come and talk to me, I will find time to reply. If I'm able to help you, I'll tell you. If I can't, I'll connect you with somebody, or at least do my best. So with that, I want to wrap up. And I don't know if you're going to take questions, or we should wrap up and we can connect offline.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate you coming today and sharing your wisdom in the industry. We can definitely save questions at the end if anyone has any specifically for any of the speakers today. But
thank you.
Yeah, just to move on. So thank you so much. Our next speaker will be Tracy Balot, who is a vice president at IBM, leading technical strategy, architecture, delivery, and support for IBM's performance management system. During her time as an executive in the finance, telecom, healthcare, and technology industry, she has operated in an $80 billion Fortune 500 global organization and has successfully managed revenue goals of up to $100 million. So Tracy, you can take things away.
Yes, so it's hard to follow that one. So I'll try my best. I think I heard some things that were awesome advice for you guys. So hopefully everyone's writing it down. Just wanted to take a little time to talk about kind of my journey on how I got to where I am and what I do. So at heart, I'm a scientist. I've always loved math. And as I got into high school, I realized how much math there is in science. And so I've been a science math person kind of my whole life. What happened was I went into college thinking I was going to major in some type of science because I wanted to go to medical school. So I picked, at that time I loved chemistry. So I picked chemistry. I ended up getting a degree in physics. And it was in my junior year of college that I took an internship at IBM. And that's where everything kind of changed. I loved the culture. I loved doing what I was doing. And to be frank, it was a job that was I did a front desk receptionist for a while. I've offered to help some people in the accounting group who were sitting right next to me because I love math, and I started helping them out and had a great internship while I was finishing up my bachelor's degree. So I had to make a decision at the point of getting my bachelor's degree. Do I want to go into medical school? I started studying for the MCAT and looking at different colleges. And I decided instead, I really loved IBM and I loved the culture and what I could do there and the possibilities and the opportunities. So I ended up getting a job offered to me down in Austin, Texas, doing technical support for at that time was the AIX, the Unix operating system that was just coming live at that time. And it was a big growth opportunity for IBM. So I did technical support. And again, if you think about some of the things we just heard, sometimes you see your journey lead to things that you wouldn't necessarily have ever guessed. And so I took that internship at IBM just to get some extra money, get some extra time working with people who were professionals. It ended up turning into a really wonderful opportunity for me then getting a full-time job in technical support, which again, was interesting. I loved working with people. I loved working with science and helping people. So it was a great job. That ended up opening up doors though for me for other opportunities. So as I always take the mantra of do every job for 2 years, 1 year to learn it, 1 year to kind of get it down and do it well, and then look for something that is a good growth opportunity where you can kind of build on that. So after a couple of years doing technical support, I moved into a test organization. Then I started doing some software development, and then I started running software development teams. So running software development teams, I got a chance to learn more about the business and selling products to our customers. And because I've always worked with customers from the very beginning, it's always, what are you going to build? Who's going to use it? How are they going to use it successfully? And what business can you drive from that? And so I got more into the business side of things, and I kept growing my career running software development teams, then running businesses within IBM. And that was one of the great things about a big company like IBM is I don't have to go outside of the company to get new opportunities and to really grow in my career. So eventually I ended up growing in scope and responsibility. Right now, as you guys heard, I'm the vice president of our IBM's performance management system, which is where we take data, do analytics on it, apply AI to help IBM make better business decisions. My advice to you, and I'll just keep it short. I heard a lot of things that were fantastic that resonate with me. The first thing is, don't be afraid to go outside of your comfort zone. Help others. And if you help others, you'll find that you can learn a lot from them. And it does usually lead to other opportunities you wouldn't imagine. So just because you see something being offered to you or an opportunity that doesn't seem like a link to where you want to go in your career, or where you want to go to college, or it may not look like it's an obvious link to get you where you're going. Sometimes those are great opportunities to see other sides of it, see other opportunities that you may not have considered. So don't be afraid to try different things, try something that may not be down that path you want. I don't know anyone who went to college and ended up staying in the same thing that they started college at. Usually you take a couple different roads along the way to figure out what's really interesting to you. So don't be afraid to go outside of your comfort zone and help others and stay connected. You heard a couple options here about linking up with folks. Keep those connections. Any speaker you see here, connect with us on LinkedIn, create a relationship. If you think about if you're starting your own company, who are you going to go hire? Are you going to hire someone you know and respect? Or are you going to hire someone that has applied off the street and you never heard of them before? You're probably going to line up with someone you know and respect just because you know they're going to do a good job. So no matter who you are, where you are in your career, keep those connections as long as you can. Keep linked up with people that you know as you go to college, even if it's not the obvious connection you would think that would help you out. Who knows? It could be somewhere someday, or they could help you out someday. Like you could help them, they could help you. So keep your connections. You never know where they can lead. And the third is don't ever get out of STEM. It creates a baseline for you that you can use in any career. I could have gone into medical school. I could go into software development. I have a business role right now. You can kind of do anything if you have that background in STEM, because it teaches you how to think about things, how to challenge things, how to learn. It teaches you a process on how to get information and learn from that. Other degrees, other things don't really do that. So if you have an opportunity to stay in STEM, do so. It's not just because there's not a lot of women in STEM. It's also because it does provide a fantastic baseline to let you figure out, no matter where you want to go in life, whatever you do, that's going to be useful to you in the future. So stay in it. Doesn't matter what you decide, math, science, whatever. It will be good for you no matter where your journey takes you in your life. So that's kind of what I wanted to get through today is, and again, I'm trying to keep it a little bit short given time. I'd be happy to stay on and answer any questions at the end.
Thank you so much, Tracy, for coming to speak with us today. And so our next speaker today is Alice Rao. Alice is a software engineer at Jane Street, working on the institutional services development team. She interned in 2017 while studying computer science at Carnegie Mellon University and returned as a full-time engineer in 2018. Alice enjoys functional programming to solve hard problems in trading, and she is also involved in Jane Street's internship program, as well as programs for underrepresented minorities. So Alice, I'll just hand over the reins to you.
Awesome. Hi, can everyone hear me okay?
Yep.
Awesome, cool. So first of all, I just want to say congratulations to everyone who participated in EmpowHer for taking the time to build your skills and complete some really interesting projects. I think it's really impressive. I'll also keep what I'm going to say pretty short, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about some of the opportunities that we have at Jane Street, and just generally in industry, like Tracy said earlier, you should stay in STEM if you can. So just a little bit about Jane Street to begin. So we're a technology-driven quantitative trading firm, and our main business model is market making. So I just said some finance jargon, but that basically means that we invest heavily in math and computer science skills, and we use our technology to trade. We're super collaborative and pretty casual. So you'll often see people coming into the office in hoodies, and then we're all clustered together having conversations about our work and working through problems together. We're a proprietary trading firm, which means that all the money that we trade with is from the founders of the company. So it kind of aligns our incentives. We don't want the company to blow up and fail, because that's the founders' money. And so we think really carefully about the trades that we're doing. And we're still comfortable taking on risks that other trading firms might not be comfortable with, because we have such a mathematical approach. All of our trades are backed by a lot of statistical and mathematical research. Our business is really still growing. So that means we're basically constantly hiring for almost every position, but the two most common ones and most biggest populations that we have are quantitative traders and software engineers. So traders use their math and statistics concepts to develop trading strategies, manually enter trades, and monitor trading systems. And software engineers spend their time writing and reviewing code, learning deeply about trading or whatever the problem is that they're currently solving, and basically constantly talking to other engineers and traders. Yeah, so I kind of just wanted to give you guys a little overview about Jane Street and what kind of opportunities that we have. Feel free to reach out to me, as the others have said. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alice, for taking the time to come today. And so without further ado, our next speaker is Tara Byers, who is a lead product owner in supply chain technology at Target. She leads the development of enterprise APIs and inventory management software. Her favorite parts of the job are learning about customer needs and pain points and empowering engineering teams she works with to develop innovative solutions. Tara is passionate about developing diverse talent and closing the gender gap in the tech industry. So I'll stop my screen share and hand it over to you.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. How are you doing today? Good, I'm seeing thumbs up. Well, I want to get a little bit interactive. I want to make sure everyone's out there still listening today. So I'm first going to just introduce myself and tell you a little bit about what's been possible for me in my career so far in technology, and then share a little bit about what I think might be possible for you. And then I'm going to ask you a few questions along the way. So be ready and then use the chat to type out your responses. So a little bit about me. I currently work at Target in technology as a product manager. And kind of similar to what Tracy said, I didn't start out thinking that, and I didn't even know what a product manager was when I was in high school and when I was your age. When I was in high school, I went to a really small town, or I grew up in a really small town in northern Minnesota, and I was really, really in love with math when I was in school. And so I went to college to be a math teacher. And then right as I started college, I was in a computer programming course, and I had never done any programming or anything before. And so it was really cool and really unique. And I just kind of like on a whim decided to change my major and pursue software engineering. And at the time, you know, I was just hearing like there's from my college advisors, like there's not a lot of women in tech, like it's a really great field to go into. You can make a lot of money. You don't have to be in school forever, like a doctor or a lawyer. And so just kind of tactically, I was like, oh, well, that just seems to make sense. And so I did it. And boy, am I really glad that I did. Looking back, I've been working now at Target for about 5 years, and I had internships through college as well that were really like good paying jobs. But the best thing about the job is like every day you're solving a different problem, and it's usually in service of a person that's out there with like pain, frustration, or challenges. And just like all of you, like you had to set out to solve some problem or understand what your community needed, and really understand like the challenges of the community, and then use technology as a way to address those challenges. And that's a lot of what my career has become, and the thing that excites me the most about it. And so what is product? What is a product? A product is really anything that delivers or is of value to people in like one or more markets. And a product manager is someone who is really responsible for setting the vision and coming up with a strategy to deliver value to customers and help engineers decide what's valuable to build. And so I want to hear from all of you, like, what's a product? Like, what's your favorite product? Use the chat. Tell me about your favorite product. You know, like it could be a tech product or it could be just a physical product, but what's your favorite product? Type it in the chat and I'll type mine too. Yeah, it could be apps. It could be actual products. Oh, Tesla, that's a cool one. And why do you think like Tesla or Facebook or Instagram or iPhone, like Apple, why are they successful? Why do you think that they've succeeded? Does anyone want to unmute and share why you think that they've been able to become successful?
I think it because they kind of took over like a lot of other products and made it more efficient to do things. Like when iPhone first started like coming into play, things like an MP3 player, a GPS, all of those were completely eliminated because like the iPhone just had everything in it. So it just made everything all in one place. And I think its efficiency just made it easier for people. And that's kind of what made it an attractive product for consumers.
Yeah, that's such a great answer, and it's spot on, right? They made it super seamless. And then the more people that are on that platform, there's really cool features like FaceTime and iMessage when you're on an iPhone. And so those are like features that they've delivered on these platforms to really draw more users in. That's a great answer. Anyone else have ideas maybe for one of the products that you've listed? Why do you think they've been able to be so successful?
Since no one is talking, I'll take a shot. I said Tesla here. So it's built on with a lot of data. It has got a futuristic view. Think about it, you can update a Tesla car with new software based on the data that it is driving from the street and making it up to date, which is needed. So I love the fact that how they are collecting data from everywhere and building on top of it, and they are continuously innovating on top of that. So innovation is another thing which is there. You will never get bored of driving Tesla. So that's my thought.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you everyone for all of this great participation. And I see Sudha, you said in the chat, they listen to the customer, and Joyji, that's a lot of what you just said. It's taking data at a large scale about a customer and quantifying the impact that the product is having on the customer, and then identifying like where can we bring this next to bring more and more value to the customer. And then also like sitting with the customer and understanding like the qualitative data about what do they love about it? What are they saying about the product that's making them use it every single day? And those are the things that, and the attributes about what I just described, that's what a product manager's responsibility is. At Google, at Microsoft, they're responsible for understanding the customer needs and the business, as well as the market and competitors, and then working with engineering teams to help articulate that and then drive the team along developing the product vision. And I think it's a really, really exciting career option. And it's a great way to get into entrepreneurship. I know you all have been learning about many different entrepreneurial skills, and product management is a great career path to eventually get into entrepreneurship. I often hear people describe product people as the CEO of the product. You know, a CEO has to lead people and a product owner doesn't. But other than that, like, you have to fully understand, like, how is this product going to be viable for the business, usable for customers, feasible to build, and then ultimately valuable and drive more and more value, because at the end of the day, you want to keep customers coming back. And so one more thing I want to hear from you, as I'm going to describe a little bit more about the opportunities at Target outside of product management to kind of grow these skills, but I want to hear from you. So use the chat again. What are the entrepreneurial skills that you've learned through EmpowHer? So just use the chat. I want to know, like, your favorite skill that you've learned, or some of the top skills that you've learned that you're going to use in your future. And so as you're thinking about that, I'm going to share a little bit more. So opportunities and paths to technology at Target. There are so many ways. Like, a 4-year college degree is like not the only way to get into entrepreneurship or to get into technology anymore. There are boot camps that companies will pay for. Target has 2 boot camps that they fully sponsor that people can apply to, and in 3 to 6 months become software engineers at Target, working on some of the products like Drive Up and Shipped and things that you know and love in the Target.com app. And so all of that is becoming possible with technology. And so just be aware of those different opportunities, that it's not all one path to get into technology. And entrepreneurship as well. There's also entrepreneurship programs and incubators that, again, like, I know Target sponsors, and I think other companies do the same, where they'll actually like incubate whatever problem it is that you're trying to solve for a customer. You can actually get sponsored to do that inside of a place like Target, and they'll actually help you. They'll bring in people to support you and actually like grow the idea and launch it. And so think about those like possibilities that are out there and research for them, because like there are more and more of those opportunities that keep coming up. So don't think about like what you've traditionally heard about tech or entrepreneurship. Think about like how the world is changing, and everywhere is becoming a tech company now. So you can really make it what you want to be. I'm loving seeing all of the different collaboration, organization, communication. Oh, these skills are so important. I would really, I see communication a couple of times. That's one that I'm really trying to work on now, because understanding people and what's important to them is ultimately going to put you on a big path to success in your future. So I want to thank you all for being super engaged in the chat with me and joining today. I was so impressed by the video and seeing just a small tidbit of what you all have done. And I can tell, like, we have got the next generation of future problem solvers and innovators and entrepreneurs and computer scientists and data scientists and everything in this room. So I'm just excited to, in the near future, work with all of you. The last thing I'll leave you with is not necessarily advice, but it's something that I want you to think about as you go forward. Whenever you're at a restaurant, mall, school, airplane, traveling, like wherever you go, think about your interactions on the day-to-day, whether they're through technology or not through technology, and get curious about problems and challenges that you continue to see in the world, and think about how you might yourself apply technology to solve those. And just walk around with that like learning and thinking mindset, because that's where you might stumble upon like your opportunity to launch a product. So thank you all for listening. Thank you all for being here today. It's been awesome to be with you.
Thank you so much for coming today. I loved hearing everything you had to say. And so I guess moving on from here, we have our next speaker, which is Mercedes Killingsworth. Mercedes is an application developer at IBM, and she works with enterprise asset management software. We're so excited to have her speak about her experience mentoring this year. So Mercedes can take things away.
Yeah. Hello, students and friends. Let me start by saying congratulations. After months of planning, coordinating, learning, and programming, you made it, and you all should be very proud. I know working on a project may seem daunting, especially if the concepts are completely new to you, but you all stuck with it, and that speaks volumes about you. So don't forget that. I hope EmpowHer was as much as an rewarding experience for you as it was for me. I truly enjoy helping students learn about STEM and offering pointers on how they can expect to use their skills in a professional setting. I know my group has grown a lot. They had very little coding experience, and now they know how to use Android, Android Studio, GitHub, all those important skills that you need in a work setting, as well as just teamwork and effective communication. So I'm very proud of them. I also think that the workshops that were provided were very educational and essential in their learning, and even I was able to learn something new. So going forward, I want to encourage all of you to continue your learning and honing your skills, because with the changing pace of technology, you always have to keep your skills relevant. And make sure you keep working on your projects, even if you haven't placed here, because just like with anything else, you have to continuously work on it and improve, because even cell phones, they weren't this small and tiny, years ago. So continue to work on your projects, improve them, keep tackling important problems, and I hope one day to be able to use one of your products. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And also thank you for coming to every workshop, Mercedes. I remember seeing your name in those meetings. And so moving on to our final speaker today, which is another mentor speaker, we have Shri Kapali. So Shri is a senior engineering technical writer at MathWorks, and he works with developers, application engineers, and other writers to develop user workflow-centered technical documentation, which is used to accelerate the pace of science and engineering. He will share his experience working with his matched mentee team this year. So I'll stop sharing.
I just want to say thank you to MetroHacks, you guys, and EmpowHer. You put together a great competition, a great assortment of presentations, of workshops, and I really learned a lot from my students. Especially, they were very focused. They made sure that we met every week. They always were asking questions consistently, and that made us really involved, and that was really satisfying to work with such a talented team. And I really enjoy mentoring, and really all of you are future leaders in science and technology, and all of you have done a wonderful job, like balancing this and doing your schoolwork and everything. Kudos to each and every one of you. You're all winners in our books. You did a tremendous job. And my advice is just develop a growth mindset. Always ask questions. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to ask for help. And always plan your work and work your plan. And you'll all do great. And I look forward to seeing all your, I'm sure you're going to do great things in the future. So wish everyone the very best. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate you investing all of that time into your team this year. We couldn't have done it without you. And so moving on to the next stage.
So now that all of our keynote speakers are finished, it's time for what everyone has been waiting for, the award section of the presentation. So as a brief recap of what our students have submitted, we looked for 3 different components: a series of short essays, a video summary of your project, and a design history file. These components included questions about the creative process, the plan to make prototypes into a real-world solution, and how the proposed solution differed from other solutions that were already available on the market. We will award the top 10 teams a 1-year subscription to Wolfram 1 and Wolfram Alpha Pro, courtesy of one of our sponsors, Wolfram Alpha. We're extremely excited to announce that EmpowHer's top 3 national winners will be receiving scholarships sponsored by our wonderful partners. First place winners will receive around $5,000, followed by second place receiving $3,000, and third place will be receiving $1,000 sponsored by NC WIT.
Hey everyone, my name is Yashis. I'm one of the marketing directors at EmpowHer, and here are our winners. In alphabetical order, here are our top 10 teams. Thank you all for participating in your hard work from October to June.
Good job, everyone.
Congratulations to Kushi Parikh for winning the 3rd place grand prize award for her project de novo design of ubiquitin signaling enzyme for Alzheimer's disease. Yay.
Okay, so if you want to present, you can tell me when to change the slide and tell everyone a little bit about your project, Kushi.
Okay, my name is Kushi. I'm from Arizona, and my project uses computational modeling to design a ubiquitin signaling enzyme for Alzheimer's disease. So I organized my research through the waterfall software design process. So I used this model because the sequential design process allowed me to create a project timeline and stay organized, but I also modified the linear dependence to include some iteration as well. And that's my timeline that I made. So let's break down the project here. So the objective was to design a ubiquitin signaling enzyme to bind amyloid beta. So if you'll hit the next button. So protein design represents an energy optimization problem. And optimization is a form of like a mathematical problem. So we'll start with a denatured state, and then through a series of algorithms, try to find the global minimum of an energy function. And that represents the folded state of the protein. Next, the ubiquitin protein is called the kiss of death. So this new protein is supposed to try to bind ubiquitin with the insoluble plaques made from amyloid beta. So the Alzheimer's plaque can be degraded. So there are 3 algorithms that transformed the protein chain into a docked protein. Folding, packing, and docking are the names of the stages. So in folding, different orientations of the connections between amino acids are sampled. And then during packing, the identity of the amino acids are changed. And then during docking, the entire complex binds to the amyloid beta peptide in the most optimal way. So how was I able to measure the energy and optimize this protein design? So in the next slide, there is the Rosetta all-atom energy function, which contains weights to simulate conditions within the brain. So when the complex formed, attraction between the both of them increased, repulsion decreased, polar contacts and hydrogen bonds formed, and according to the energy function, 250 kilojoules per mole of energy was released. So that's the global minimum of the energy function. And so what are the implications of this kind of study? So the de novo substrate has clinical potential in Alzheimer's disease treatments. It's a proof of concept that can be applied to a variety of different neurodegenerative diseases like Parkinson's disease and Huntington's disease with these kinds of plaques that build up in the brain. In future studies, I would like to explore the experimental validation of this design by actually synthesizing the sequence in real life in a host cell and then comparing the actual and predicted structures. If they're highly different, I might have to modify my algorithm or modify the experimental conditions so it matches the weights that I put in the energy function to begin with. And then last but not least, this project was shared with a wide array of individuals representing multiple demographics, including industry professionals, target users, community members, and you, the amazing MetroHacks EmpowHer community. Thank you so much for listening and providing me all the resources and inspiration for this project.
Thank you so much, Krishi. This project is absolutely incredible. I can't tell you the truth that like I fully understood everything because it's just so complicated, but congratulations again.
So moving on, congratulations to Ashruti Badaputi and Vidushi Mio for winning the second place grand prize award for their project Melatech. Sorry.
So our project is called Melatech, and it is a machine learning approach for identifying malignant melanoma in skin growths. And this was done with our mentors, Mr. Allen and Joyjeet Majumdar.
So the main components of our project is our app, and we have an iOS app that is ready to publish, and we also have an Android app that is going to be published pretty soon. And we also have our ML model, which can detect skin cancer from a picture. We are working on making a website for our app, and we also have a lot of biomedical research, including our research paper, statistical analysis, and annotated bibliography.
So our app consists of two interfaces, the patient and clinical trials interface. The patient interface is meant for patients to use the app and get in contact with doctors, evaluate the risk they're at for melanoma using a set of predefined parameters in the risk assessment tool, and also get a classification on whether or not their mole could be at risk for melanoma. Our clinical trials interface is for the clinical trials that we plan to begin after our science fair actually ends, since we can't publish the app before science fair ends. And in the clinical trials interface, doctors and dermatologists are able to create entries of melanoma and moles that they deem malignant or benign, and then get a classification on them that gets sent to our backend, and we can use it to retrain our model.
This is just an interface of the upcoming Android version prototype. It has the same features that are in the iOS version, and we plan to publish this sometime in July, towards the end of July.
This is our, oh, sorry.
No, you can go.
This is our technical framework, and I don't think that we have time to go through all of the specifics, but the main components of this is just the two interfaces, so the clinical trials interface and the patient interface. And within the patient interface, the risk assessment tool and the melanoma identification view controller. And both of these branch out to outside resources, such as the National Cancer Institute calculator of what % risk you could be at for melanoma. And the melanoma identification tool reaches out to our machine learning model, which sends the image through the system and comes out with a classification on whether it is malignant or benign.
So when selecting our data set to train our model, we had two classes of interests, benign and malignant, and we got these images from the International Skin Imaging Collaboration plus various dermatologists that we reached out to. And we augmented these images to reach a data set of about 60K. And we used various tools for data augmentation. And some of the things that we did to augment the images is rotate them, saturate them, crop them, etc.
So part of our methodology was also the data augmentation that we did. So this is one of the novel features of our melanoma identification system. One of the reasons it's so hard for melanoma detection systems to be made accurately is because of the lack of data. So to go around this issue, we augmented our original data set of 20,000 images to over 60,000 images using AutoML libraries and other augmentation tools.
In terms of our website that we are going to make, we want to include information about HIPAA privacy laws and how we adhere with it. And it is just made with HTML, JS, and CSS. And in terms of our research, we have 2 research papers that one is technically oriented and one is biomedically oriented. And we have used about 45 sources and consulted with 5 dermatologists.
The accuracy of our melanoma detection model is at a 98.8% projected accuracy for images that we set aside for testing. This accuracy needs to be adjusted for the real life accuracy that it would have if this app was used on actual patients, and that's why we're running the clinical trials. So we used 10% of our original 20,000 image data set for testing, and these images were not used to train the model. We found that there was no bias towards age, sex, or anatomical site, but for dark skin, there is a slight issue, which is that dark skin individuals may have some problems using the model since there wasn't much dark skin data to train with, even with all the augmentation that we did. And the go around for this is that people with dark skin often develop carcinoma rather than like topical skin melanoma. So we haven't really done much research on that aspect of the project.
And we would just like to acknowledge the help that we received from a lot of people. Our physics teacher, Mr. Allen, helped us, and Joyjeet, who is also here today. He helped us a lot with our app development process, and he's still going to be helping us in the future. And we also have some dermatologists that we reached out to listed here.
Great, thank you so much, you guys. It's really impressive, all the research that you put into this. So moving on.
So finally, we are at our first place winners. And this award was sponsored by Jane Street. So huge thank you to Jane Street for sponsoring this award. It was extremely helpful. So congratulations for our first place winners, Mashal Nihal, Sahara Damrit, Tahia Mostifa, and Yatusha Ramanaraja for winning the first place Grand Prize Award for their project Care on Click.
Oh my God, hello everyone. My name is Tahia.
My name is Mashal.
My name is Sahara.
My name is Yatusha.
And we're the Care on Click team. We're very excited to be presenting today, and we're actually all from Canada.
During March of 2020, healthcare workers in the Greater Toronto Area were not getting enough support for mental health. The workload of the pandemic and concern for safety, as well as the lack of personal protective equipment, were the main contributing factors to their mental health. Care on Click saw this as an opportunity to build a website and stronger public support towards healthcare workers throughout the pandemic, all in one place. Our proposed solution, Care on Click, is a responsive website that provides care packages with items such as snacks and stress relievers to get them through their tedious shifts, a compiled list of mental health resources, and most importantly, a place for the public to show their gratitude for healthcare workers through letters of support.
So one of the most exciting stages of our project was preparing for our build. Through late fall to midwinter, we spent time developing and sending out our survey to healthcare workers in the GTA, Greater Toronto Area, and even interviewed a frontline doctor to learn about the pandemic experience. Collecting this information helped us identify what we could add to our website that would prove to be useful for them. Feedback through surveys helped us understand that there was a sufficient amount of PPE available, but there was still a large need for mental health resources. And we adjusted for that. Doing empathy and scenario mapping sessions throughout the year on the Mural platform was key to fine-tuning our build in order to ensure that our audience had a good user experience. Through these activities, we were able to make sure our product would make an effective improvement in their lives. You can proceed to the next slide. And now we have a video prepped for our technical implementation, and you can go ahead and play that.
Hey MetroHacks, it's Tahia Mustafa.
I'm Mashlana Hall.
I'm Sahara Damright.
And I'm Yuthusha Ramnaraja.
And we're the Carol and Click team. We're very excited to be sharing our project with you.
During March of 2020, healthcare workers in Ontario were not getting enough support for mental health. The workload of the pandemic and concern for safety, as well as the lack of personal protective equipment, were the main contributing factors to their mental health. Care on Click saw this as an opportunity to build a responsive website that provides care packages, mental health resources, and public support throughout the pandemic all in one place.
So one of the most exciting stages of our project was preparing for a build. Through late fall,
we designed it on a wireframing website called Figma. Using Figma, we were able to completely plan out our pages, colors, layouts, and content. Here are all the different pages we planned for our website, along with the different paths connected to each clickable button or link. Our wireframe design had a few extra pages that we weren't able to include, such as a donations page where people could donate money or PPEs, a frontline workers page where people could learn about the lives of different frontline workers all over the GTA, and a blog where frontline workers can share different stories, whether they be helpful, educational, or cautionary. Using Figma, we were also able to pick colors and themes that were accessibility friendly, which we found to be very important when exploring UX. We were also able to map out different paths that would be the easiest to understand by our users.
Using Bootstrap, we created a responsive grid system to display the site smoothly on multiple device types. Our homepages introduces the work we do and our story, which carries over to the About Us page. This page details our core values that motivate us and also describes our mission, which is to support healthcare workers during this strenuous time. Onto the What We Offer page. Our team conducted research both online and by interviewing a healthcare worker to design care packages that will alleviate some of the weight off their shoulders by providing items such as snacks and stress relievers. At this time, we don't have physical care packages, but we have created and embedded a calendar to show what an example distribution schedule would look like. Furthermore, we focus on mental health and have compiled external programs that offer mental health support. This way, healthcare workers can find which resource suits them best. And finally, we have a section for letters of support that are written by members of our community to share kind words and appreciate what healthcare workers are doing so that the healthcare workers can see the change they are really making. In the How to Help tab, we have an option that allows users to write a letter of support by themselves. This is connected to a spreadsheet which automatically updates with the added messages, and we are then able to approve these to be displayed on the website. We also have a sponsorship and volunteer section so that we can further this initiative with their help by adding real functions such as the care packages and helping those become a reality. They can contact us through this tab in the navigation bar, which opens up a GitHub forum that we are then able to respond to. And that is our website.
Thank you so much for listening, and thank you MetroHacks, EmpowHer, and Hervolution for this amazing experience.
Thank you so much, and congratulations again.
I hope everyone is feeling super inspired after seeing those amazing presentations, and I just want to extend another congratulations to our top 10 honorable mentions, as well as our 3 grand prize winners. I hope you guys all found it inspiring. To close, we want to thank all of the instrumental people who have helped run this amazing program this year. We can't thank our sponsors, mentors, workshop hosts, outreach partners, and speakers enough for the dedication that they've shown towards EmpowHer. When I envisioned the impact that this program would have last year, I couldn't have pictured the vibrant EmpowHer student community. To the students who participated, we hope you've had an amazing experience and learned a lot that will transfer into your future careers.
Finally, we'd love your feedback on how we can make this program even better for next year's students. For all students who complete the survey, you'll automatically be entered in a raffle for fun prizes.
Thank you everyone so much for coming. We hope you've enjoyed the program and will continue to participate next year if you're still in high school or join us as mentors in college. Lastly, if any of the participants are interested in becoming directors of MetroHacks next year, please email us at info@metrohacks.org. Finally, follow our social media accounts at Team MetroHacks on Instagram and at MetroHacks on Facebook. We truly appreciate the time commitment you have all shown for the program.
Thank you so much. And we'll get someone to put the link to that survey into the chat. Oh yeah, it's right there. And yeah, please make sure you fill that out if you want to be in the raffle. But thank you so much for coming. And that's basically all we got for you today.
We hope to see a lot of you guys come back in the fall for EmpowHer's second year. And yeah, amazing work. We are so proud of all of our participants. It's so evident the growth that you guys have had from the beginning of when this competition season started till now. And I hope you guys have an amazing start to the school year. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Great job, everyone.